Well, good morning. This is Alan from both sides of the pond, driving down I-20 on this very dreary, or across actually, on this very dreary Saturday morning. Should be with my wife right now, but circumstances have curtailed that, and I'll get into that more later. Running from Smithfield in Virginia all the way down to Laredo, Texas, with an export to Mexico of a load of pork for Smithfield. Should have been well down the road by now, but unfortunately got delayed because of the paperwork. It was messed up. Got it signed off by customs, and then they realized they made a mistake, so they had to wait the next day for customs to come back and re-sign or re-ratify, or whatever they do. I really don't know. Whatever they do with the paperwork. So it delayed me by a further 12 hours. So I spent over a day in the kill plant, and you can't really go anywhere because, first of all, in Smithfield up there, there's nowhere to go, and second of all is you've got to try and preserve your clock and your driving hours. So you're kind of captive. You're not captive, but you are captive. And as you know, most drivers will know, most of these places don't give you any kind of amenities whatsoever. At worst you get nothing, at best you get a porta potty, but really it should be at best you get nothing, at worst you get a porta potty, because they are disgusting. And I won't use them for anything other than a number one, and that's it. I hate them things. Hate them things. You know, and that's really what I want to touch on today. Some of the nasty sides of driving a truck. You know, it's a life of freedom. You're on the road. You meet lots of interesting people. Make a decent amount of money if you're prepared to put the hours in. A lot of positives, but there are some negatives, and one of the negatives is really how you are treated, especially with the COVID-19, because they won't let you in their facilities. They keep you outside so you don't pass any germs on, but they don't provide you anything outside, or what they do provide is very substandard. You know, I was watching the cattle trucks come in with the pigs, and would you call a pig truck a cattle truck? I don't know. I don't really care actually, but there's always a pedant out there who'll say, oh, it's not a cattle truck, it's a whatever, a swine truck. No idea. But anyway, so all the pigs were laughing at me as they're coming in, and it's like, hey, what are you laughing at? You know, I don't know what you find amusing. You're all going to be dead in an hour. And I says, yeah, we might be dead in an hour, but at least we don't have to use that porta potty, which, by the way, it stinks. And that was the pigs. I made that up. That's not actually true. Not actually true at all. I'm just trying to fill a little bit of time. But yeah, it's always a bit of an issue that we don't get treated the best. Everybody tells us, or at least when COVID first kicked off, you know, essential workers, your heroes, etc., etc. And I don't think I'm a hero for doing this. I'm just doing my job and making money. Not a hero at all, but a lot of people, hey, thanks for your service, blah blah blah. But when it comes down to providing us something, then you know, it's usually substandard, not fit for animals in many cases. And the other thing, which, and I always touch on it, you know, the hardest part of our job is pork, and the other annoying thing with COVID-19 is a lot of these states close down the rest areas, which really, you know, when you need the essential items, when you need the food more than ever to come onto your plates and your shelves and your cupboards and your refrigerators, you know, to take away a truck driver's ability to park his vehicle safely and sleep, just beggars belief to me. I just don't understand why during COVID they would close down rest areas. You should open up more rest areas, if anything, you know, to encourage drivers to get out there and get more miles in. Because, you know, you can often lose miles by, you know, not wanting to risk being right at the end of your time when you pull into a parking area. That's one of the little variables that I hate now. You know, when I'm planning my trip, I may plan for a rest area, and you get to the rest area and they've closed it for no other reason than, you know, COVID-19. They don't want to maintain the toilets, or I have no idea. So why don't you close the toilets, tell the drivers there's no facilities, it's just a parking area, and maybe put a dumpster for our trash? You know, I mean, most drivers will piss up the truck anyway. You know, I've seen drivers within 30 foot of a public restroom and piss up the side of the truck. So we don't need the toilets. Close them down if you have to. but don't close the rest areas or don't close the parking spaces. We need them. We absolutely desperately need parking spaces. That's the most difficult part of our job. Don't take them away. Give us more. Give us more. A lot of cities, some of the big consumer cities that don't really manufacture anything, you know, New York's and your Chicago's and that, which tend to be more inbound freight than outbound. They're the biggest consumers, they're the biggest eaters, they're the biggest users, but they're the ones who provide us with the least amount of parking or the most expensive parking, you know. They can, like if you go to Los Angeles, parking's difficult there. There's only 2 real good spots where you're certain or almost certain to get a parking spot, and that is in Ontario. There's a big Petro there and there's a big TA, and I think they hold about like 550 trucks each, but it's $25 a night, which really sucks. You know, we're not living away from our families for 8 weeks at a time. Some people more, and we're not doing it for fun. We're doing it to make money, and you're taking it out of pockets because we need somewhere to park. You're not providing it, so the people who do provide it just scalp us. You know, it's one of the negative aspects of the job. A little bit of a word on the accident on I-35 in Dallas Fort Worth the other day, and it really doesn't surprise me. Sad to see that people died there, and it's also sad to see that the deaths, to me, and it's never been confirmed, but the FedEx driver and the guy who drove the day cab have a lot of accountability there, because the weather was, well, everybody's stupid, and especially in Dallas. You know, I was in icy road conditions in New York, in the state of New York, not New York City. I won't go to New York City, but I was in a state of New York, quite near New York City, and we were getting rain, and it was like 15 degrees, so it was freezing conditions, and everybody was driving at 20-25 miles an hour while we were in that rain and while the roads were wet, because people realize and they're used to it. In Dallas, although a lot of the drivers there, especially the truck drivers, drive all around the country, so they should have some kind of clue of the driving conditions, but they're not so used to driving in those kind of wintry conditions. But saying that, the 2 truck drivers, the FedEx one and that day cab one, there was a JB Hunt there as well, but particularly the day cab and the FedEx, just way too fast. And sadly I see it all the time. I've had a few arguments with guys on the CB, and a lot of you will say just mind your own business, but I'm driving down the road, there's an asshat 4-wheeler driving in the outside lane, won't get out the outside lane. It's frustrating, I know. That 4-wheeler is an asshat, he's an arsehole, as we'd say back home, or a wanker. But you get a semi driving right up his ass, and that to me annoys me. And I always go on the CB and say, hey, you know, you're giving the rest of us a bad name. Yes, that driver, that 4-wheeler driver, should not be in the outside lane blocking you like that, and it's kind of rotten what they're doing. But you're using your truck as a weapon of threat. You know, you're threatening somebody with your truck, and if something was to happen to that car, they'd have a blowout or wherever, you're going to kill them people. And death is not or a possibility of death is not a suitable punishment for being an asshole on the road. You just got to back off and just hope that they pull over. And if they don't, well, tough shit. You know, life throws you lemons sometimes. And I hate to see that. I hate to see a lot of the truck bad habits, the piss bottles all over the place. I was driving through California one day, and just for the fun of it, I noticed a couple of piss bottles by the side of the road, so I started counting them. And I was getting, like, every mile I was seeing at least 2 or 3 piss bottles. Now, in the state of California, especially around Los Angeles, they don't really clean up the roads, the highways, as much as they do in places like where we are now. If you look at the sides of the road, there's virtually no litter, and it looks beautiful. When you get a place like California, you don't see the same level of cleanliness. So you know, a lot of things that truck drivers do embarrass me or shame me. Using your vehicle as a weapon of threat is probably the biggest one to me. Forget about all the cleanliness things, or leaving trash by the sides of the roads, dumping your bags of rubbish in the shopping cart in the Walmart car park, so nobody can, so they eventually ban us and none of it. they're, you know, they're things, but when you're using your vehicle as a threatening weapon, that to me, and I just can't let it pass on the CB. I'll get on the CB, and many people have told me to go and F myself and kiss my ass and stop being a wuss and mind your own business and all that. And I'm sure a few of you truckers watching now are saying, you should be minding your own business, you're a wimp, you're an asshole, you're a pussy, shit like that. I don't care. I'm not. We have a responsibility to protect the motoring public from themselves and from us, but mainly from themselves. They drive like idiots. We can't. We have a weapon of mass destruction here, as seen on that accident in Dallas-Fort Worth area. We can kill with this. We should never use it as a weapon, never. And it just boils my grits when I see it. I had a big argument with a FedEx driver doing just that. He was about 2 inches away from a car's bumper. And he's like, you're driving my truck? It's like, no, because if I was driving your truck, I'd be 6 seconds behind him right now, even though that four-wheeler is an asset. So just think about that, you know, when you're driving your truck, it's not a weapon. You can't use it to threaten people. If you do, you should lose your license. You should have it taken off you. Whatever somebody does on the road, however annoying, a suitable punishment is not to risk their lives. That's not a suitable punishment. You just got to back off and think about it a little bit. Think about it a little bit more. I know we're all trying to make the miles, make the money, but really, this is not a weapon. We shouldn't be used that way. And that is my lecture for the day. Professor King tells you how it is on both sides of the pond on this miserable Saturday morning. Actually, it's Valentine's weekend, and I actually booked home time. I was supposed to be at home for Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and because of delays at shippers, like the paperwork one, and I had a delay earlier on, my week just got totally screwed up. By Friday morning, I'd only getting 700 miles, believe it or not. Well, I think it was actually more nearer 800 miles, paid miles. So couldn't get a load back into Florida. Decided to take this one as a and repower it off. But then when I did the math, and that's the thing of being a contractor, being self-employed, you got a truck payment. Did the math, and it's like I honestly just can't go home. I can't go home. I'll not have enough to cover the truck payment. So I took this load. So instead of being with my lovely wife having a romantic meal, I am gonna spend my evenings in a truck stop with the stale smell of urine coming up my nostrils. Lovely jubbly. But that's trucking, you know. You're never guaranteed to get home on time. They do their best. Sometimes you wonder if they actually do the best, but you book the time. And in the year I've been doing this, I've managed to get home on time once. So, and that's out of like 6 times, something like that. I've once. But this was going to be booked it Thursday to be home. Picked up by my wife on Thursday, so I'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and best case scenario I would have gotten Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which kind of sucks. So I decided just to take this load, head to Laredo. That gets me 1900 miles with the 800 I've already done. It gives me enough to have a truck payment and some money to put in the bank. So there we are, the truck driving life. Sometimes it's fun, interesting, enjoyable. Sometimes it can be a real pain in the ass. Real pain in the ass. But never mind. You have a great day out there. There's not really much to look at. There you are, there's my mirror. In the mirror there's rain. The windshield's rain. And my other mirror, there's more rain. I look up in the cab there, stuff that I have. Got my, I always have my bass candy. The good old CB, I've got a Cobra, and I use this mic. I really like this mic. I've got several mics, but this is the US Army one, like that one. And then I've got a couple of things here. This clock here is set to Dallas time, which is our hub, so I can see that when I'm lying in my bed. And above that, this thing up there, that is actually a temperature alarm. I've got 2 refrigerators. Well, I've got a cool box and a refrigerator back there, and I'm always worried because one time one of them unplugged and I lost all of my frozen items because they all defrosted. I had no idea. So this thing up here it gives me the temperature, the high-low temperatures for the carb, but it also gives me the temperature and the high-low temperatures for both refrigerators. And if they go above a certain temperature, they'll actually sound alarms, which is great. I love it. Great little idea, and gives me a little bit of peace of mind. So I've got that. Obviously I've got my dash cam. You've seen a couple of my dash cam videos. That's the one I use now, which is a Rode 4K. Got my Qualcomm. I've got my pad here, which I usually set like on a zoomed out map of the US, so I can see. I don't know why I set it like that. Basically, I know where I am, but it's nice to see a pictorial representation. I've got my GPS there. But this I can use for, you know, all kinds of things. Control. All right, folks. Still stuck in Weimar, Texas. This is what's going on. We have ice and we have snow, and the place is just a bit of a mess. There's no fuel to be had. I think one pump maybe is working. I better get off this slippy stuff. But lots of pumps are not working. We have the food places are not working. Nothing is moving much. People are struggling to get in and out. There's no electricity. There is well, there's electricity here, but lots of the stations have no electricity. Make sure I don't get run over. Well, this is Texas. This is southern Texas. It's not like we're in New York or anywhere like that, or somewhere up north, Montana or Wyoming, North Dakota. Hey, good job I got stabilization. Let me get off this slippy stuff. Get off the road before somebody knocks me over. So yeah, there's a few empty spots now, so people are making a run for it. We are expecting more ice and snow today, but people are making a run for it. The problem being is that you can't get gas anywhere. Houston's supposed to be a mess. San Antonio's supposed to be a mess. So everywhere you go. Let's have a look at I-10. There is movement on I-10. That's what's over here. So let's see what's going on over there. Damn. Gotta make sure I don't slip over. So there is movement on the interstate. I've been trying to call safety this morning to see if it is cold. It is bitterly cold, but as you can see, somebody's been down here before. Yeah, this doesn't feel frozen. This snow here feels kind of if it's melting. So everybody's going gingerly. Are they coming in? It looks as though, yeah, that guy, this Olympia guy's not going gingerly. He's getting his foot down there. I got half a tank of gas. I think I can make a run for Laredo. That's where we're at right now. It's a bit of a mess down here. But that's the thing. You see, the problem with Texas is they get so, especially this part of Texas, they get so little snow that they don't have the infrastructure to clean the snow away and to salt the roads. And really, why should they? It's an unnecessary expense. When you hardly get any. But as you can see, it's a bit of a mess out here. Guy likes his air horn. People wonder, this guy's been here for a couple of days but wearing his shorts. He's got a hat on but in shorts. I bet his balls are in his stomach somewhere, but he's probably never seen them for 2 days. So people just parked over here. Dadsy's parked the wrong way in the fuel island because I don't think any of the fuel pumps are working. I'm on the slippy stuff again, so gotta watch how I'm walking. So yeah, he's parked in the wrong direction. Nobody's getting any fuel. As you can see, these guys are just parked in front of the pumps because there isn't any gas or diesel. Sorry, I keep saying gas, it's a bad old habit. So that's where we're at. Nothing whatsoever. Let's have a walk. Woohee! On the slippy stuff, just took a little bit of a slide there. I got the gimbal on the GoPro plus optical stabilization, so you probably won't see it unless I really go flat on my ass. A lot of these guys have been here the same amount of time as me. But I am considering the possibilities of making a run for it. Watch this guy go in so he doesn't hit me. To Stephen's truck there. Let him get in. So yes, you can see still lots of ice, still cold, but I'm going to ring safety because I'm considering having a run to Laredo, get rid of this load, and I've got other things to take care of down there. So hey, cold shit.